Hello and welcome again to the third video of the VBA Boilerplate Project from Vitush Academy Live Coding. So pretty much today we will take a look just at two of the modules, pretty much the Excel Visual Basic environment, and the second one will be the form example. So the Excel Visual Basic environment would be really something pretty much interesting. Probably this is part of what I call high-end VBA, and the form example would contain the correct way to produce a form in VBA, the way I actually think about it. Pretty much it also contains a form summary presenter in it. For example, this form, FRM info, and yeah, pretty much that's it. Let's start with the ExcelVBE. Starting with the ExcelVBE Visual Basic environment, the first thing I want to point out is really here, this kind of code should be used only for, let's say, off-site VBA programming. I mean, it's pretty much not something that should be automated. It's something like I could call diagnosis or workaround, for example. So what I mean is, for example, this part, for example, print all code shouldn't be called within a sub, because it's actually what it's doing is printing a code in the Bereich, which is immediate window in English, and also creates a notepad file with the whole code. It is not dangerous. I mean, here is some kind of dangerous code, so to say, that should be really used carefully. It can delete all your VBA project, and once it's deleted, it is gone for good. And it can also import modules, for example here. And the point is that whenever it import modules, it deletes also the VBA project. So yeah, like you see here. So long story short, always know what you're doing whenever you're doing something, especially in the ExcelVBE module. So let's start with printing the old code. I mean, I will simply start with F8, going on line by line. Pretty much it goes to each item of this workbook, VB project, VB components, and it prints everything which is inside the module. So currently we are, let's press Shift F9, we are present in item called Excel main. Yes. So in Excel main we can see all these kind of events like workbook before close, workbook before save, workbook new sheet, etc. etc. The immediate window is this one is limited to show only 200 lines. So whenever showing more than 200 are printed, it only shows the last 200. So yeah, this is it. So the next line is, as you see, the important constant and public line, then next, and all of them are printed. So you see only 200 present. In order to show more than 200, I have implemented, of course, the print to notepad function that I have shown in the previous video. And if you go through it rather quickly, the way I'm going to Shift F8 a few times, you would see that a file info is created in the folder of the boilerplate here, and in this file you would see everything, which is rather good. If you decide to take a quick look through with Notepad, in order at least to see how many lines is this boilerplate project currently, you would see it contains of 2283 lines, and it's quite a lot actually for a VBA project, for a boilerplate VBA project. Okay, for anything else it can be not a lot. Okay, so this is what print all code does. I'll clear the direct Bereich or immediate window, and yeah, now print all containers. What does it do? Pretty much the same, but it only prints the name of all the containers here. On the way, it considers them coming from this workbook, VB project, VB components. Yeah, going with F8 all over everything again, and at the end, of course, everything would be printed with to Notepad. Yes. And this is it again, all of it. Yep. So this is what print all container does. The next one is list procedures. Pretty much what list procedure is doing is the following. We can simply write list procedures, and then we'll see that we have a optional variable which is currently Excel additional, and with parent info is boolean false. So let's simply see what's happening when we press enter. Okay, obviously it goes through Excel additional, this is this one, and it prints all the names of the current functions and procedures, so to say. Control Shift F2 in order to return. That's rather interesting and rather useful. And let's see, with parent info is boolean false, we can also try true. And we see also like Excel additional dot the name. Yeah, what we can do is, for example, copy this here optionally and say instead of only printing, we want you to write to Notepad. And this is that easy because using the boilerplate, everything is a bit more or less checked a few times. So as you see here, like now the last date modified file would be this one with exactly the same part. So it's up to you whether to print everything or just to debug print it in the immediate window. So this is what list procedure does to take. Yeah. Okay, export modules, this is where the magic starts actually, and it's the biggest magic in the VBE. So to say, it exports all the modules here, and now what it would do is to create a folder on the desktop, and pretty much it would export all the modules of the current file, plus forms, plus anything but tables, worksheets, and this one here, the Excel workbook. So let's go here and simply start. Create folder on desktop. It returns this one, C users, Vitosh, my username, desktop, boilerplate, Vitosh Academy. Great. Create folder on desktop, this one. Folder has been created, information printed for you. And here a bit on error, resume next. Killing all the stuff that is currently present in this folder, if it exists. It's a bit brutal, so really be careful whenever you delete folders and files from VBA. Because as you know, there is no turning back. Once deleted, it's deleted. Yes. So exporting modules. Now it says for each component of this VB component, and it tries to say, okay, these are the ones that I'm going to export: the class, the VRM, and the bus. I'm not going to export the Excel main and the tables, as I said before. And let's see what is going to be the information. Okay, first it exported constant and public bus, second exporting form example bus, everything is exported. And yeah, I think that was it, and I just pressed F5, F8, so I'm just going to write here end, so to disband it. And questionable, let's see how it looks like, the exported stuff on my desktop. I have a folder which is this one, boilerplate Vitosh Academy, as you see, 22nd December 4/24, my current time currently. And yeah, this is everything how it looks. If we open a random one, we would see that it starts with an attribute VB name. It's obviously exported, because usually if it is copy paste, it starts from the option explicit, but in this case it starts with this one. We can start with a class, for example, same story, open with Notepad. And here we see a bit more information, like version of the class, attribute of the class, and a few interesting attributes here, for which actually I have written a separate article on my website, but this is another story. So this is what the export part does. Okay, get folder on desktop part, this is part of the export, but it pretty much returns the desktop with some information about the folder to be named this way, and the folder is called through shell special folder desktop, which actually returns. I have to put like create object shell. Okay, so it's like this. Okay, so special folder desktop, it actually returns this, and then using the console upper name, which is this one, Boilerplate Virtual Academy in the constant and public, Control-Shift F2, it returns you the folder that is needed. So this is it. Create folder on desktop. This is also part of this beautiful export module part, and needed for it. Pretty much it creates a folder on the desktop, and it gives some information whether it exists or whether it has been created. Yeah, and if it exists, it says, okay, there was an error for number 75. This is the standard error when a folder is already created and we try to recreate it, and if it doesn't exist, then it is created. Okay, so now about the import modules. This is really something we should be careful with, because it also deletes a lot of VBA which is already written, and it's a bit dangerous if we do not know what we're doing, because we may delete our own code and probably, yeah, we'll be sad a bit. So yeah, this is what happens when you don't have Git in VBA, but that's another story. So import modules. The target workbook should be opened in the same Excel instance as this workbook. What does it mean? Pretty much I have here one target workbook, and I click on simply on open, and it's open. It's called empty, and it is an ExcelVBE file. And as you see here in the VBE, it doesn't have anything. It's just one table and this workbook, and that's all. So let's go back to the VBE. So the target workbook should be in the same directory as this workbook. Yes, this is something I have done additionally in order to be able to write something as small as this workbook.path, unite it with this beautiful thing, unite it with target name. So let's see, I mean, yeah, okay. And then target path, boilerplate. This is the this workbook path united with this, and target name, it doesn't know yet because this part of the code is not run. So the third part is the code should be present in the get folder and desktop path. With other words, whatever we put on this get folder and desktop path folder on this one would come to the empty ExcelVBE. Yes, pretty lot of this and this, but the idea of this is that this should be done a bit manual, to be honest, because it also has in its part delete all VBA, which deletes all the code within the target worksheet. So it's kind of dangerous if we do it automatically, because sooner or later we are going to delete stuff. So in the Boilerplate Virtual Academy path, I have deleted everything, and I have only left this constant and public.bus, Excel additional bus, and I'll leave a third one just for the test. It will be commenting.bus, and let's see what it would look like. Okay, first of all, it's called commenting, and of course there will be only comments here, just one, just this is a comment, just to see what happens. Okay, so importing modules, let's start with F8, and then I'll probably run with F5 at some time. So Control-Shift F8, yes, this is in order to miss the part. So set workbook target is set, the one which is empty. I'm not opening it even because it's already opened. This is one of the prerequisites. I mean, I like it this way more. So checking the protection is okay. Checking the file count in the get folder, and it's obviously not 0. It should be 3 actually. Yes, it is 3 because we have 3 folders there, 3 files. And then delete all the VBA code. Delete it already. We just ran this function here. I was pressing a Shift and F8 in order to jump like this. So now the beautiful part, let's start. Okay, in empty ExcelSM adding commenting bus, great. Another information in empty ExcelSM adding constant and public.bus, great. And you see it's already like edit already, commenting constants and public. And the last part in empty ExcelSM adding ExcelAdditional.bus, and you see here ExcelAdditional is also added. So the bug print, let's see, 3 units were just added to, and there we get our place, and that's it. Let's see how it is added. The commenting, yes, this comment is here, great. Constant public, great. ExcelAdditional, great. So let's show once again what we can do. For example, delete O from this one. Can we do it? Yes, we can. What should we do? Let's say we have this kind of task, clear the empty ExcelSM out of VBA. We can go here and we can say delete all VBA target. Simply take it like this. Okay, and it is the VBA target should look like this, workbooks target name, and the target name is from here, this one, so it's empty ExcelSM. So if I run this now with enter, commenting, constants and public, and ExcelAdditional should be deleted. Let's see how this would happen. Okay. Yes, one from empty ExcelSM deleting commenting. Commenting is not present. Second, from empty ExcelSM deleting constants and public, and now when I press F8, it is deleted. And third, from empty ExcelSM deleting ExcelAdditional, and with F8 this is not present anymore here. Empty line is good, just whenever we are using it in comparison with this one, the idea is not to mess with the reporting. And pretty much this is all about the ExcelVBE. So thank you for your understanding here, and as I mentioned, do not use this within code, use this only when you know what you're doing and you know that something should be deleted forever. I mean, speaking about VBA code. So let's go to the last part of the video, speaking about the forms in VBA. And as you see, I have two forms. This is the first one, this is the second one. Okay, let's see what's in the code of the first one. A lot of properties and fancy things. What is in the code of the second one? Wow, we see user form initialize, and we see a lot of interesting stuff that kind of doesn't make us happy if we had seen the previous one, which looks like really fancy and stuff. The point is that this is, so to say, something that I called the old way of defining forms in VBA. This was the old way before I learned how to do it the correct way, and I still have left it here just for reference. So to say, what it does is the following. This is a user form initialized, and this kind of user form, it checks how many instances are opened in Excel. So whenever we open the workbook here, Control Shift F8, it checks a lot of stuff, and then it says like whether this is the single opened instance, the single opened Excel in the current instance, or it is like another one. The reason to do this is because sometimes people do not understand that they open a lot of Excel files in the same instance, and somehow this can become really slowly. So let's see what's happening here. It gives us information that more than one instance was opened. Yeah, makes sense. If we go here and actually we close empty. How do we close empty? That's a good question. I would do it the VBA way, workbooks empty ExcelSM dot close. Nicht speichern, do not save anything in it. And now if I run again the workbook, open up the current one, we wouldn't see anything because only one is opened, pretty much. Yeah. So this is the idea of the old way of making a form, or the one that is pretty much unfortunately written in all the Excel books and VBA books, because it is really easy. You initialize the form and then you write some stuff on it. You always say, okay, make it modeless here if it is workbook count higher than 1, for example, and then unload it after waiting 2 seconds. For example, this unload FRM info, and when the firm FRM info is this one, is a bit ugly, honestly. But somehow, sometimes, most of the times it works, and it is 99% of the cases the case for a form written in the VBA books. 99% of the cases, really. I mean, I read a lot of VBA books. Yeah, fortunately or unfortunately, and this is it. Most of them give this bad example. So that's one of the reasons I have edited it to my boilerplate, just as a knowledge that it is there, but it shouldn't be used a lot. It shouldn't be used at all in general, but doesn't matter. So let's continue with the form summary presenter to see the correct way of opening a form, pretty much. So how do we do it? This is the form example. The way is to say show main form. This is whenever we want to have a form, we run this one. And now it starts. If presenter is nothing, presenter is this object here, then it sets it. Set presenter new form summary presenter, and this is where the initialize is. As you see, it is not initializing the form here, but it is initializing the FRM example, which is this one, the summary form with events. And now presenter.show. And here, of course, if it is not visible, make it modeless and change number and caption I was looking for. Yeah, change number and caption, press run to start. This is how you change the numbers and with everything. It's really a bit of high-end thing. Okay, I'm using subtotal label info. This is something that I should change whenever I find time, but not now. And we see it's even helping and putting it in the middle of the worksheet. Yeah, with this top and stuff. So we can press run. What would happen if we press run? Where we should look for the code of the button run? Well, most probably here. Summary form on one report is obviously event. This is another story why we shouldn't write underscores in VBA, but let's see, because it's taken for events. Okay, F8 form example main presenter, change label to action, starting and running. Starting and running. Information is changed also. Repainting is an important part. And now generating numbers. This is just a part generating numbers. And it's generating numbers from 2 to 4, but it's in a loop, so it's a bit different. This is how it looks. Then refresh, refresh. Task performed here changed, and everything works rather good. Okay. So what happens on exit? That's the tricky part. We do not unload the form, we simply hide the form. So the next time when we want to show main form, we do not initialize it again, as you see here, because the presenter is not nothing, but we simply show the hidden form. Yeah, and that's it. This is the best way of working with forms in Excel and in VBA using the object-oriented principle. I mean, this principle is there not just for fun, but it is to be used. So this was the pre-last video for the first 4 videos from the VBA Boilerplate project. The last one would stop and would explain what all these TDD things are doing. TDD main, TDD spec definition, expectation, runners, spec suite, and pretty much that's all so far. So have a great day. If you have questions, comment. You can feel free to subscribe to my channel and have fun. Bye.